Hello, welcome to the 10th episode of the Eldenwood Craft Podcast. My name's Emma and this is my podcast all about my crafty life. I'm coming to you today, which is the 23rd of July I believe, from my home in the south of the UK. I'm recording in my craft room today because the light is just about good enough to allow me to do so. Normally it's quite a dark room. There are a load of big trees out the front. But today the sun is shining and so I thought I'd take the opportunity to record in here. Big hello to everybody who's been here before. Thank you ever so much for coming back. And big hello as well to anybody who's joining me for the first time. I hope you enjoy what you see and come back for more. It'd be lovely to have you. What will I be talking about today? Well, I've got some administration to start with, and I think I'm going to call that my notes and queries section. Then I've got a finished object, some works in progress, some incoming bits and pieces, and some future knitting plans. So that will take us through probably about half an hour to 40 minutes. So grab a cup of tea, grab your knitting, and let's get on with the show. So the first thing I've got to tell you about today is some CAL news. If you remember from previous episodes, we were running a knit along in this podcast and in Ellie's podcast. Ellie is Craft House Magic, has the Craft House Magic podcast. We were running a CAL called the Crafty Knit Along, and the aim was to knit a pair of mittens by Lena Gerald, the striped mittens according to Badagak, by the end of June. And we had some really lovely entries. Thank you ever so much to everybody who took part. Ellie announced a couple of winners on her podcast a couple of weeks ago, so all that's left for me to do to wrap up the CAL is to announce my winner. And my winner will receive two things. They will receive a bag made by me and they will receive a beautiful skein of yarn. So which shall I show you first? I've got them down here. Let's show you the bag. Let me just lump it out a bit. So the bag is one of my birdsong bags that I made a few weeks ago, popped them in the shop. This beautiful lovely fabric from Jojo Coco Designs. So I put, it needs a bit of an iron and a press, but the winner will have a beautifully pristine bag. I really love this fabric. I've told you all about it before. Just some plain natural coloured cotton inside. So the winner will receive that bag and really special skein of this beautiful yarn from, let me just put the bag down, from Lakeside Yarns, the lovely Kelly of Lakeside Yarns, and this is her smashing duckling colourway, very appropriately named. Really beautiful. Oh, and there's a picture of a duckling on the front. So the winner of the bag and the skein of yarn has been drawn just before I started recording today, and I'm absolutely delighted to say that the winner will completely appreciate the prize. Bear with me 1 second. Back again, sorry about that, there was somebody at the door. So as I was saying, I picked the winner just before I started recording by random number generator, and the winner will completely love this prize, I know. And the winner was post number 10, who is Starry Eyes Ali, who has the Little Drops of Wonderful podcast. So I'm really pleased that you've won, Ali. Congratulations. I know for a fact that skein of yarn will be right up your street, so when your number came up I was very pleased for you. So Ali, if you send me a message with your address on, I will get those out in the post. Thank you ever so much to everybody who took part. Before we go on with some other Cal news, let me just show you the mittens that I knit for the knit along. Let me just pop them on. So you'll have seen these in progress in previous episodes, and these are the finished items. I'm very pleased with them. I love the colours. What I didn't do was sew up the ends. The ends are supposed to be sewn, this little rolled section is supposed to be sewn underneath as a sort of a hem, but actually I quite like the rolled cuff. So yeah, so these are my striped mittens according to Badagak. Bit too warm for them today. I shall put them away and save them for the colder weather. What can I tell you about them? All the details about the yarns and so on that I used are in my project page on Ravelry, but just briefly, the grey was a Drops baby merino, I think, and the coloured stripes were all minis, 2 from 5 Moons, so this blue and that green, and this top green was a mini from Nora George Yarns. Really pleased with them. They haven't been blocked or anything, but I don't even know that I'll bother. Once they go on my hands and keep them warm, they will be doing their job, and I'm sure nobody will mind that they are not blocked. So, striped mittens according to Badagak. My very first pair of mittens that I have knit, so I'm very pleased with them. I learnt, as well as learning how to knit mittens, I learnt a lovely technique for weaving in ends in striped knitting as you go. If you're interested in seeing that, there's a link in the chatter thread in my Ravelry group for the knit along. But that really was a game changer when I learnt how to weave those ends in as I went along. So, finished object. The other Cal news that I have is partly Cal news and partly giveaway news. I've just got my notes down here and I need to refer to them. I was contacted earlier this week by the lovely Naomi, who is Cozy Cute Knits, and Naomi said that herself and Jen Sheelan are co-hosting a Cal. It's the Warm Fuzzies Cal, which is running from July the 15th to the end of September. And she asked if I could just give a mention to that Cal. Let me just tell you a bit about the Cal. She says the whole idea behind the Cal is to make something that gives you the warm fuzzies. Who doesn't like that? She says there have been so many bad things happen recently, especially here in the UK, and I know that a lot of people turn to their crafting. The Cal is to help us all by having that one or more project that really makes us happy and that we can share with others. Isn't that lovely? So the rules of the Cal are that you must be a member of both the Cozy Cute Knits Designs Ravelry group and the Jen Sheelan Ravelry group. You must subscribe to the Jen Sheelan podcast on YouTube. I will be going to check that out today. And projects must start on July the 15th or later, so no whips, to qualify for prizes. There's a chatter thread in Naomi's Ravelry group, and the finished object thread is in Jen's, and they'll be drawing prizes from both threads at the end of the Cal. So I will, I'm notoriously poor at joining in with Cals, but I will give this one a go, and I've got just the thing to knit for it. But also very generously, Naomi, when she got in touch, she gifted me a copy of one of her shawl patterns. It's the Follow the Butterfly shawl. Thank you ever so much, Naomi. That was really kind of you. But even more excitingly, she has offered a copy of that pattern for a giveaway on this cowl. So I will put my thinking cap on and I will come up with an appropriate giveaway to allow you to win that shawl pattern. I'm not going to do it this month, but I will have a think about it over the next few weeks, and hopefully in the next podcast I will announce a giveaway for you. So thank you ever so much, Naomi. That's really generous of you. I will be entering your cowl. I think I'm going to knit a pair of socks over the holiday season, and more of that later. Let's put my notes over there. Right, so that was notes and queries, and actually it was also my finished object. I only had the one finished object this month. So let's move on to whips. Before we carry on, I think you need to know I'm having a bit of a mild panic at the moment. I just stopped the camera because talking about sock knitting, I thought, I haven't looked out the 2 skeins of yarn that I wanted to show you for my future knitting plans. So I've just been under my desk where I keep my couple of boxes of yarn, and I was looking for 2 absolutely stunning skeins or balls of yarn from Twisted Lemon, who's a UK based indie dyer who does the most fantastic self-striping yarns. So I had 2 skeins of that yarn that I wanted to use for knitting socks in the summer, and I for the life of me I do not know where they have gone. I have been through the 2 boxes that I keep my yarn in, and I've pulled everything out and I cannot find it. So if you happen to find 2 stray balls of Twisted Lemon yarn that you have no idea who they belong to, they're mine. It's a bit annoying, a bit worrying. I'm sure they'll turn up. They've probably been put away in a project bag for safekeeping somewhere, and I don't know where that project bag is. I need to have a think about that. So you won't see my 2 skeins or 2 balls of summer sock knitting yarn today, I'm afraid. Anyway, on to whips. So I've got 3 whips to show you today. I've been working on 2 of them fairly monogamously, if you can be monogamous on 2 projects. The first one is being housed in my absolutely lovely summer seagull bag. This was a bag that or a run of bags that I did for the Woolly Thistle, which is an online shop based in the States selling lovely, I think she says the best of British yarn. Just not unusually for me. I am just dropping everything at the moment. Bear with me. Oh, my hair is really annoying me. Having my hair cut tomorrow, it's got to the stage where it's not being very nice to me. Anyway, so the first project that I've been working on is a new project. You won't have seen this before. Sorry, I just had to take my hair down, it was annoying me. Right, on to the first work in progress. So as I was saying, this is a new project. You won't have seen this before. A a colleague at work is about to go on maternity leave, and so I thought, what a perfect opportunity to knit a baby garment. I've not knit any baby garments before. Most of my friends have all had their babies. So I spent a little while trawling through Ravelry trying to find the perfect pattern, and the one that I came up with is this. It's the, I'm probably going to butcher the name, but I think it's the Éole. I don't know. I think it's a French. Yes, the designer is French. She is Nadia Cretin-Lechen. So I'm guessing that's probably Éole. But if anyone wants to correct me, they're very welcome to. So you can see it's a pretty little cardigan. I don't know if the mum-to-be is having a boy or a girl. So I have chosen to knit this out of this lovely pale grey. It's a Cascade Heritage sock yarn, and this is the progress that I have made. So cute. So I've knit the body, as you can see, and I'm just about finished with the first sleeve. I've got the last 3 stitches of the I-cord bind off to finish. How well you can see that. The I-cord bind off was a new technique to me. I love it. It creates just the most lovely finish to a garment edge. Most of you are probably very well aware of the I-cord bind off. If you remember, in my very first, you probably don't remember, in my very first podcast, when I was all nervous about doing all this sort of thing, I was actually recording from the room next door, and at one point in the podcast there was a great big clang of metal bowls hitting the floor underneath in the kitchen. That's just happened again. Anyway, back to the cardigan. So yes, so I just about finished the first arm, first sleeve. Going to start the second sleeve today, and then need to do the contrast I-cord bind off around the bottom and up the button bands and neck, and then it will be finished. I don't think I've got the contrast colour with me, but I'm going to contrast it with a I think it's the China Blue colourway in the same Cascade Heritage range. I think that'll look lovely. So that's the Éole cardigan. I'm knitting it on, primarily knitting it on my Knit Pro Zings. They are 3.5mm needles, but I've also been knitting the sleeves on these Addy Calibris, I think. Addy Colibri. I quite like these for DPNs. They were the only 3.5mm DPNs that I had, and they are doing the job very nicely. So that's whip number 1. Whip number 2, which is being housed in my Craft House Magic bag, is there's not much to show you on here. It's sock number 2 of a Rose City roller. I think I may have shown you the first Rose City roller in a previous episode. And I'm not going to be able to show it to you now because it's not in the bag. Bear with me 1 second. Right, back again, and I found the missing sock. There we go. Turn it that way. So these are Rose City rollers. Most of you will know the pattern by now, but it's just a very simple shorty sock with this lovely rolled rolled cuff instead of doing ribbing, and a slip stitch heel flap, and I did I just did a normal square or rounded toe, but not the new rounded toe that I've been doing in my previous socks. This has been knit using yarn that was dyed by my daughter with food colouring. I think she did an okay job, didn't she? There's some really lovely colours in here. Some of the teals that she managed to get. I don't know if this will come up very well on screen. But that, no, you can't really see that. Anyway, I think she did a really good job. And so yesterday morning actually, I cast on sock number 2. And there's the ball that I've got left. So hopefully that won't take me too long, and by the time I record again, that will be another finished object. Cast on 60 stitches, and I'm using the Addy Sock Wonder asymmetric short circulars, which, as you know, are my preferred method of knitting socks at the moment. So yeah, nothing else really to say about those. They're a lot of fun. I love the jelly roll socks. Jelly roll? Rose City Rollers. Did I call them jelly rolls? There's a sock that's very similar to the Rose City Rollers that have got 2 rolls along the top. They, I think, are the jelly rolls. These that I'm knitting are the Rose City Rollers. Okay, and then on to whip number 3, which is hopefully soon going to be a finished object. Just put the ball down there, and that is my Vertices Unite shawl. Those of you who follow me on Instagram will have seen progress on this on a fairly regular basis. I've been knitting it a lot over the last month, and it's not far off being done, I'm very excited to say. It's big. I'm going to stand up actually and show it to you if I can. It has an awful lot of needles hanging off it. Holding some live stitches, but I think you'll be able to get a good feel for what it will look like. So there's one end. Coming through. And over to the other end. It's massive. It will be the biggest shawl that I own. But I think it should be very wearable. Certainly much wider than my wingspan. Let me show you up close some of the yarns, some of the sections. So I love this blue and grey striped section at the top. The blue is a Malabrigo sock, and the grey is a Knit Pick Stroll Tweed. Underneath that is a grey, another Knit Pick Stroll Tweed, and the sort of beigey colour is a Knit Picks Capretta, and it's the same beige that is in this section here. You'll be able to see probably that I made a bit of a boo-boo just round here. I dropped a stitch and I didn't pick it up very well, but frankly I think that's going to be at the back of my neck when I wear it, so I don't really mind. This lovely, 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 lovely grey is Nora George, Dumbledore's Army, one of her sock yarns. I just love that. I know I've already said how much I love it on the podcast before, but you can never get too much. You can never have too much love for Tracy Arnold's yarn. It's just lovely. Let me leave that there for you to ogle at for a second. And then we've got another striped section at the end. I think that's actually all the different yarns I've used. So there's a grey, the 2 greys there that have already been used, and then a section of the Malabrigo sock at the end. So that was the last section that I used, that I knit. So all that's left to be done is to go round the perimeter of the yarn to pick up all the stitches, and then to do an I-cord bind off. So it's a very good job that I learnt to do the I-cord bind off in my cardigan, because I am going to need to be an expert at it to go all the way around here. Such a clever pattern, so enjoyable to knit. With it being modular, I was explaining to somebody the other day why I enjoyed it, and I think it is because it is modular. There's never too much knitting for you to get fed up with any one section. The shape constantly changes. You're always picking up increasing or decreasing stitches, and although the pattern itself is very simple, it's just such a really fun knit. And when everything begins to come together, particularly in this central section here, where you've got the 1, 2, 3, 4 different sections that have come together, it's just incredible fun. Anyone who says knitting is not fun has no idea what they're talking about. So, my Vertices Unite shawl. Again, I hope that will be finished next time I podcast. And I shall look forward to wearing this so much. I will definitely knit another one. I've already said to somebody that I may, the next one I knit may be not striped, so total blocked. What's the word? So I won't do stripes. I'll do plain sections for all 5 or 6 sections. 5 sections, I think. 6? Can't remember. Anyway, so that's the Vertices Unite shawl. Really pleased with that. So since I last podcast, I have had a few little bits and pieces in the post. They are in here. Let me start off by the absolutely gorgeous bag at the top of the pile. You may recognise this as being a piece of work by the incredibly talented Ali, who is Jammy Pudding and Custard on Instagram, and she has a folksy shop by the same name, Jammy Pudding and Custard. And we were chatting on Instagram a little while ago, and Ali suggested a swap. So I sent her a bag, and Ali sent me this one. And if you've not seen Ali before, if you don't know about her, firstly have a look at her on Instagram. She does the most stunning embroidery, and my mind has gone a complete blank. Patchwork. Patchwork applique. So she hand embroiders these bees onto bags. They are beautiful. They are her sort of trademark. So Ali sent me this. I absolutely adore it. It is right up there with my in my all-time top 10 favourite knitting project bags. She put a beautiful grey fabric lining in there, and also sent this gorgeous little lavender pouch with her little tag on the back. It smells lovely. I do like to put lavender pouches in my knitting bags. Really lovely. So Ali, thank you ever so much. It was a pleasure doing business with you. I shall now fill that with a project. I've been waiting to do so before I showed it on the podcast. I also, where shall I start? Okay, so I treated myself, I've already mentioned Kelly of Lakeside Yarns earlier on in the podcast, and a few weeks ago Kelly had an update in her shop and included it was a sort of a mystery set of minis. So I purchased a set. You can never have too many minis, can you? And the minis that came were just really pretty. They came along with a bag full of sweets, and the idea was you match the yarn to the sweet. Now, needless to say, the sweets have all gone. They have been consumed by my family. Actually, I still have I left my favourites till last. I still have my love hearts. And these are the yarns that Kelly sent with the sweets. Whoops. Look how beautifully they're packaged in a little sweetie wrapper. And you can see that they're all beautiful sherbety pastel-y colours. So they will go fantastically in my sock yarn blanket that has been sadly neglected for a while, but I think that may be about to change with the introduction of these. So that was a lovely treat. And gosh, there's quite a lot down here actually. I won't spend too long going through them. So the next thing that came into my possession, Sarah of Sherwood Knits, who is Sherwood Knits on Instagram, was having a bit of a de-stash, and in the community mindedness to help her get rid of her stash, I thought I would take this off her hands, and it's a skein of Triskelion yarns. I've longed to get my hands on some of this, and it's in the Festiniog colourway, which is right up my street. It's a bit greyer on screen than it actually is. It's a really lovely sort of French navy, I suppose you might call it. It's coming out very grey on there. But anyway, it's lovely, and it's 70% Blue Face Leicester, 20% silk and 10% cashmere. It is the softest yarn ever, and it will definitely be destined to go around my neck. I think this will be a cowl, and I have a cowl in mind. So I'd like to get that knit up this winter. So my first skein of Triskelion yarn. So thank you, Sarah, for having a de-stash, and thank you for sending that to me. That's lovely. And then I also bought, I saw this on Instagram and I had to jump to get this. So this is from My Mama Knits, and it is a skein of her Selkie Coat colourway. Well, Selkie, if I getting this right, Selkie is a type of seal, I think. And those of you who know me will know that these colours are also right up my street. There's a glorious mix of greys and browns in there. Sort of look at all these lovely, quite bright browns, and then lovely. So this is sock yarn. It's on her Chufunga base, which is superwash merino, 75 merino, 25 nylon, 465 yards or 425 metres. Don't know what it'll be. It's going into stash because I want to look at it and love it and not use it for a little while. But I suspect it'll be socks, but it might be a scarf. Having quite a thing at the moment about rectangular based scarves or shawls, and I'm building a little collection on my Ravelry, in a Ravelry search of shawls that shape, because I enjoy knitting them, and I think I prefer, for me personally, I prefer the way that they sort of tie and go around your neck. So I think that might actually be destined for a rectangular shawl, but we will see. Anyway, the last purchase that I made was from Love Knitting, and I'd also been thinking about summer knitting in the run-up to buying these, and I really wanted to take away on holiday with me some lace knitting, because we're going down to the south of France. We do that every year, camping as a family. It's obviously too hot down there for cardigans and things like that, but I wanted something substantial because I'll get a lot of knitting time. So I thought I'll knit a lace shawl, and I treated myself to 3 skeins of lace yarn. The first is a Madeline Tosh in the antique lace colourway. So this is Madeline Tosh Prairie, 100% merino wool, 840 yards or 768 metres, and I just love that colourway. I knit my Pebble Beach shawl in a very similar colourway in the same base. It was the calligraphy colourway, and that was that sort of colour, but it had some dashes of grey through it, I think. This is more of the same colour really, and it's a singles. So just wanted to have that in my stash. But I also got some yarn that I'd not tried before. So this is the Yarn Collective Portland Lace Merino Wool, and this particular collection was curated by Melanie Berg, who you may know to be a wonderful designer. And I treated myself to 2 skeins of 2 different greys because I wasn't sure which one I liked best. So the first one I picked up was this one. Looks really lovely on the screen. That is the Sheepish colourway. And then this one is the Morning, that looks lovely as well, Morning Rain colourway. You can see they're quite similar but different. There's the label. They are just lovely. They're really soft, very nice. Very pleased with those. And so then I had to decide what pattern to knit. Just put that on the floor. And the pattern that I have come up with for one of those greys, I'm not sure which, I think probably the Sheepish, is this. It's the Songbird shawl by Janina Callio. Hasn't printed out brilliantly well. I think I need to put new ink in my printer, but you can see it's a big lace shawl. I think it's garter stitch and eyelets. Nice and simple, perfect for holiday knitting. And that will take just 1 skein of the lace weight yarn. So that's one of the things I love about lace weight, as well as creating a very soft, lightweight wrap or shawl. You get an awful lot of yarn for your money. So that will keep me going for quite some time. Can I show you anything else on here? No, not really. So yes, so that is my that's my holiday knitting. As I also said, I had planned to knit some Twisted Limone self-striping socks, but I'm really not sure where the yarn has gone, so I might not be doing that. We will see. If I find them, I'll probably put a picture of them on Instagram, or maybe at the end of this podcast I'll go and have another rootle through my yarn to see if I've missed them. So the only other thing just to quickly mention is what's been going on with my Etsy shop. I had a shop update not long after I podcast last time, and I will have another shop update probably in a week to 10 days, I would have thought, towards the end of July or very beginning of August. And this month all I have been working on are sheet bags. I've got a handful of them over there. Let me just pull one across so you can see. In case nobody's seen a sheet bag before, this is it. This is the zip version. So there'll be hopefully about 8 of those going into the shop. Shortly there'll be a mixture of zipped and drawstring bags, and I'm also hopefully going to do try and get a tote bag into the shop as well in the same fabric. But that all depends on time, really. So that is everything I wanted to talk about today. If you've got any questions, if you wanted to ask me anything about anything I've shown, then please do get in touch. Show notes will be on my website, eldenwoodcraft.co.uk, and if you've got any questions, then there's a Ravelry thread where you can leave questions there. or on any of my social media places. Do get in touch. So all that leaves to be said now is to wish you a very happy rest of the summer. I will probably be back podcasting towards the end of August. I tend to do monthly podcasts. That seems to be the routine that I got into. So towards the end of August, I will come back and show you what I've been knitting over the summer. I hope you have a very happy, healthy and craft-filled next 4 weeks or so. And that's all. So thank you ever so much for watching. Do give me the thumbs up if you've enjoyed today's episode, and subscribe if you don't want to miss out on any future episodes. So happy rest of the summer and see you again soon. Bye.